Distinguished guests, the leaders of the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework. The United States.
Sorry to keep you waiting. It's my fault. It's my fault. I was on the phone. Hello, everyone. We just came from please have your seat, a 3-hour meeting with all 21 APEC economies discussing how to generate more growth and more opportunity in the region, particularly to deal with climate change. Today, we're announcing progress on the important initiative that we proposed with 13 of my colleagues here and of 13 of our APEC partners, the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework. Australia, Brunei, Fiji, India, Indonesia, Japan, South Korea, Malaysia, New Zealand, the Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, Vietnam, and the United States. In May of 2022, we came together in Tokyo to launch negotiations on this so-called framework. We still have more work to do, but we've made substantial progress. In record time, we've reached consensus on 3 of the pillars of the IPEF. I hate acronyms, but I apologize. First, we signed the first-of-its-kind supply chain agreement to help identify supply chain bottlenecks before they become the kind of disruptions we saw during the COVID-19 pandemic. We saw what happened then in the United States and elsewhere, but in the United States, the semiconductor supply chains dried up in Asia, and the United States, a lot of it shut down. This is an agreement we put back in place. If we had this agreement in place we're talking about today, we would not have had to lay off so many auto workers because lack of semiconductors and many other examples. Second, we've concluded an agreement to accelerate the clean energy transition in the Indo-Pacific region, including by enabling greater U.S. and private sector investment in clean energy innovation and infrastructure in our partner countries. You heard discussions today about how there's many opportunities and ideas that they have, but being able to attract private sector investment and government investment is hard for many of these countries that have great ideas and great opportunities. Well, the solar investments in the Philippines is an example. Offshore wind in Thailand and Indonesia. Joint investments between the United States and India on energy storage, and so much more. Third, we've concluded an agreement to combat corruption and improve tax administration to make sure that our trade and investment is clean and transparent, and private companies don't have any worry about their investments being used properly. And that's exactly what we've done. Every business leader I've talked to, and my colleagues have, they're more likely to invest in a region if there's less corruption, more transparency, and that's exactly what this agreement does and would show them. But as I've said, we have more work to do. We made progress in high standard trade rules that include strong labor and environmental standards. We've committed to extending our cooperation to challenges like artificial intelligence, energy security, and semiconductors. We're launching a critical minerals dialogue to further strengthen our supply chains and create clean energy jobs. And today, I'm proud to announce that the United States is launching what we'll call the Investment Accelerator through our partnership with the Global Infrastructure and Investment. Accelerator is going to bring private capital off the sidelines for major investments in clean energy and high technology. You've heard every one of my colleagues say one time or another that this can't be done without trillions of dollars of private sector investment to get hold of this and get hold of it quickly, to give them confidence to make those investments. It's going to create a pipeline of projects in partner countries and then match private sector financing with these projects. And it's going to give those private sector investors confidence that their investment will be made according to the highest standards. Government investment is not enough. We need to mobilize private investment, and all the steps are going to help unlock this private investment, and which is necessary ingredient for success and rapid success in the area we're talking about. Put simply, my colleagues and I are driving a race to the top among nations in the Indo-Pacific, driving the nations to the top on standards, on transparency, on inclusivity and innovation. And together, we're going to be forging a better future, one where workers get a fair shot and a fair share of the value they create, where high standards and sustainable growth win out, where we harness the full power and potential of our people. We welcome other nations who share this vision for the future to join the 13 of us. Our economies will all be stronger because of it. Now I'd like to turn it over to a leader who has made this partnership possible, Prime Minister Kishida. Jan, the floor is yours, Mr. Prime Minister.
The Prime Minister of Japan.
Thank you.
Since the IPEF negotiations were commenced in Tokyo May last year, in a matter of only 1.5 years, significant progress has been achieved, which I welcome wholeheartedly. President Biden, I extend my deepest respect to your strong leadership. Japan attaches importance on IPEF from the strategic perspective of strengthening economic order in the Indo-Pacific. IPEF demonstrates the proactive commitment of the United States to the region, and we very much welcome the responsible posture taken by the United States. IPEF is a framework essential for the sustainable economic growth of the region, precisely designed to reflect the needs of today. At the same time, in order to make IPEF even more meaningful, active engagement of all participating countries must be secured. That will require not only the establishment of rules and criteria of high standard, but also efforts to encourage engagement of participants and the formation of concrete cooperation projects. Japan will continue to work so that we can showcase substantive benefits in areas that are sought by the participants through initiatives launched under IPEF. IPEF will continue to evolve as a framework, and I look forward to working with you in making good use of IPEF as we strive to realize sustainable growth, peace, and prosperity in the Indo-Pacific. Thank you.
The President of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam.
Thưa ngài Tổng thống,
Your Honorable Joe Biden, President of the United States of America, Excellencies leaders, ladies and gentlemen, the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework for Prosperity, IPEF, is a collective effort to shore up cooperation and collaboration among our economies when the world is faced with multiple changes, with opportunities and challenges interwoven. IPEF is expected to be a model of dynamic and effective economic integration and connectivity that generates tangible benefits for our people and contributes to peace, stability, and prosperity across our region and the world at large. We highly appreciate the contributions made by the United States, particularly your Honorable President Biden, as well as our 14 countries, noting that 5 negotiating rounds have been successfully hosted by ASEAN countries. We also take note of our ministers' agreement on the important foundation of cooperation, that we are cooperating on an equal, mutually beneficial, and inclusive basis. confirming our adherence to international law as well as respect for our respective legal and political systems, and promoting the flexible and voluntary nature of cooperation. In order for IPEF to be truly effective, I am highlighting 3 points. First, IPEF should be an open, inclusive, non-discriminatory cooperation framework that upholds a rules-based multilateral trading system, welcome the participation of countries inside and outside the region, and complement and synergize with other regional economic integration and connectivity initiatives. Second, our cooperation needs to respond to the development needs as well as reflect the balance of interests of different parties, respect and take into account our respective differences and unique circumstances, and focus on technical assistance and capacity building. Third, IPEF should encourage new investment into infrastructure development, clean energy transition, and high technology manufacturing in the region. Esteemed delegates, it is our shared aspiration and goal to cultivate sustainable development and prosperous economies that deliver well-being and happiness for our people. Vietnam hopes that through IPEF and other regional cooperation frameworks, we will together build a bright future ahead. Thank you.
The President of Indonesia.
Excellencies, President Biden, leaders of IPEF partner countries, Indonesia is always open for cooperation with all parties based on mutually beneficial cooperation. These are the principles that provide the foundation for Indonesia's participation in IPEF negotiations. We understand the national interest, including the interests of developing countries, are key to having a good cooperation. The success of the IPEF will depend on how the parties will benefit from this. The cooperation for the green economy, the expansion of trade and investment, energy transition, as well as the strengthening of supply chain for critical mineral will be crucial in IPEF cooperation. We must present a concrete cooperation in these priorities, and I do appreciate the signing of Pillar 2 agreement on supply chain as one of the concrete outcomes by IPEF countries in responding to disruption of global supply chain. I also welcome the completion of substantive negotiations of Pillar 3 on clean economy and Pillar 4 on fair economy. Indonesia is committed to conclude Pillar 1 negotiation in 2024, as well as to implement the agreement. I thank you.
The Prime Minister of the Republic of Singapore.
President Biden, Excellencies, I thank President Biden for the invitation to be at this milestone of the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework for Prosperity, or IPEF. Singapore welcomes the IPEF's forward-looking and positive agenda on economic cooperation in the Indo-Pacific. IPEF is a strategic platform for the US's continued commitment to engage with its partners in Asia and to deepen ties in the region. It demonstrates our shared commitment to an open, inclusive, and rules-based order that's stable, secure, and prosperous. Singapore welcomes the innovative agreements on supply chain resilience, clean economy, and the fair economy. These will enhance the trade and investment environments in our economies for businesses, for workers, and for other stakeholders. We will also welcome progress on the trade agreement. Trade is the lifeblood of the global economy, and the trade pillar is an integral part of the IPEF agreement and of the US's economic and strategic engagement in the region. But developing new and creative approaches to trade policy is not easy, and it takes time in order to carefully work through sensitive areas and to choose the best moment to commit the deal. Therefore, we look forward to further progress in the negotiations as well as intangible cooperation next year. Singapore is honored to have been able to contribute to shaping the IPEF. We will continue to work closely with our partners to implement the IPEF agreements and initiatives. Singapore is happy to host the inaugural IPEF Clean Economy Investor Forum in the first half of 2024. In order to help match capital to climate-critical projects, to advance decarbonization and transition to net zero economies, and also to complement the IPEF Climate Fund and the IPEF Catalytic Capital Fund established by President Biden to develop and finance climate-related projects in the region. The IPEF should continue to be open, inclusive, and flexible, including towards new members. And we look forward to continued commitment from all partners to deliver tangible benefits and to build up the IPEF with high ambition, new ideas, strong people-to-people ties, and to drive regional economic integration and enable all of us to progress forward into a new era of partnership. Thank you.